And if we do put any type of 90s on there, we'd be probably taking a chance of having some type of stoppage and build up. The 45s will give it a nice flow and make the corners really easy to go through. And this is one of the adapters to go from the tubing that they have on the grinder pump coming out the discharge, and I'm going to use that fitting, and I'm going to adapt it to the ones that I purchased at the store to go along with this. Now the company, they did provide the toilet and the grinder pump, but the utility sink and some of the other accessories and stuff, I did purchase that myself. And right here in this little section here is probably the most crucial part. You want to make sure that it's tightened down real good, because, and again, these attachments are needed just in case there's future issues that you need to pull things apart and pull it out. Hey, you might want to move and take that toilet to another place with you. I mean, and I can't emphasize enough, PVC 45s, PVC 45s. Right there that I'm holding in my hand right there is a PVC 45. No elbows, no 90s. And this is it all connected. And this is where the grinder pump will pump all the waste up and out. And what I'm doing here, I've already pieced it together, but I haven't glued anything together. So what I'm doing is taking a magic marker and marking the spots where I like it to glue and the angles I like it to have it in. And once I pull it apart in one piece and take it out to the outside and glue it together, I can put it back exactly how it is here in the same position. So that way I can put it in here in one piece and don't have to fiddle around piecing it together piece by piece over the toilet and spilling glue and primer on the toilet. And this is another trick that a lot of plumbers use. Okay, it's all glued together. I came here and put it all in one piece and glued it back to the top part, and now it's in. And here's the utility sink I was telling you about that I'm going to install as well. It wasn't anything really expensive. This is a nice little Glacier Bay faucet I got for like 20 bucks. Before I like to do before I install a faucet or a utility sink like this, I like to actually just pre-assemble things on it first, and then that way I don't have to climb up under it and fight with it to get access. This way now it's going to be on there nice and secure, and all I have to do is just turn this utility sink around and put it in the spot where it's going to go. And one thing I didn't notice until I purchased it and got it home is that the faucet didn't come with any supply nuts. Back in the days, I mean, it was standard for any faucet that you bought. It come with the supply nuts, but this particular one, it didn't, and that's probably because most people today are using the braided supply lines that already have them on there. But me, I purchased the hard little copper ones, little soft copper ones, because they were cheaper, and I just happened to find these. These are the supply nuts I was talking about, and I just happened to find those laying around the garage, so I didn't have to make another trip. And these supply lines, they're a lot cheaper than the braided supply lines, the stainless steel braided ones, but they're not as easy to work with as the braided supply lines. And I would recommend, if you're going out to get it and you don't want to have to cut the pipe to fit with the tubing cutters, that you get the braided supply lines. I just got this because I was being cheap. As you probably know, I am an old school plumber, so back in the day, that these were only supply lines we used all the time. As a matter of fact, they were the only ones that were code approved, but things have changed. Just like a lot of times the PEX piping and a lot of the new materials they come out with today, uh, some of them are not haven't been code approved, but that doesn't mean that they're not a good product. Uh, Sometimes they just have to go through that phase where the lawmakers and the guys that write the code books eventually catch up to the new materials that's out. Now, the reason I'm removing the nipples off of this is because I'm going to change these out. At first, I was going to use the Ubenor brass fittings. And like I said previously in the video, I wanted to make this as simple, as easy as possible for almost anyone to understand. So that's why I'm removing the Ubenor fittings, because I realize that most people don't own a Ubenor expander tool to connect the Ubenor fittings. So in this video, I'm just going to show you a simpler way to do it using this here. These are going to be the same type of elbow fittings, except for these are going to be shark bites. Some people call them push fittings. And with this, all we have to do is push it in. Now, one thing you might want to keep in mind, a lot of the officials, inspectors and stuff, you can see the two differences right there, the Ubenor and the shark bite fitting. As I was saying, a lot of the officials and inspectors, a lot of them don't have a problem with the shark bites, but a lot of them will ask that you install shark bites in an area where you can have access to it. Shark bite is another fitting, another type of plumbing that's come along, and the rules haven't caught up with it yet. I mean, me personally, I think it's a good product and it works good, but it's yet to be seen by other plumbing officials. So they are kind of skeptical of these fittings, as well as some of the plumbers today. A lot of the old school plumbers, I mean, a lot of this stuff is, it just haven't caught on. I'm an old school plumber, and there are plumbing materials